I hope somebody there gets the joke of this shot. Otherwise, I'll have to explain it to you when I get back. But I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the class for which I utilized the tools that I'm going to be showing you today. That class was a Poroy class. It was called Problems in Political Theory, Digital Rhetorics. The strange thing was, although it was a course in political theory, we didn't read any political theory. In fact, we didn't read it all. The instructor was Dr. Bob Boynton. He has done a lot of work with John Nelson. They're both political scientists, and they've both, for a long time, been working on new media. They started with video, and now they've both been working with the internet. And they're both very familiar and friendly to rhetoric, so they're good people to know outside the department, especially if you're interested in politics. So here is the information we did for that class.
Okay, here you can see the screenshot of the Multiply site that the Digital Rhetorics course used to produce its academic product. Now, we used Multiply, even though there are certainly other services we could have used, for a couple of reasons. First, because it allowed blogging, that also allowed comments. Within that blogging, you could have hypertext, but you could also upload video and embed it. You could also upload audio and pictures and embed them. You had the opportunity to store files. You could create a specific bounded community, and there was also security, since we weren't sure exactly how much, given it was an academic course, how much we wanted the general public to see just yet. So what I'm going to do is walk a little bit through this, my part of the site, so you can see what we did. So first of all, what I've got here is my opening page. As you can see, the name of it is the synopsis, my main post, Podcasting and Developing Ecology of Politics. This is the introduction to what basically became the equivalent of an academic paper. And that academic paper is basically split up into a series of blog entries. You can see here I have a review of media ecology. There's the lit review, academics considering podcasting. I have a series on numbers, political buzz, podcasters themselves, a couple case studies, implications, and of course works cited. Now at the bottom here you'll see, though, something kind of interesting. There are two supporting posts, and what I did in terms of this academic final product was to connect up all of the kind of work that I've been doing, what Halavez calls transparency. I hooked up all of those kind of working posts to each of the more specific formal posts that I did for the paper equivalent. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of these postings to let you see the different kind of functionality that appeared in the class. First, I'm going to show you one of the places where the blog had the most people post to it. So in one of my sections, the case study on Blast the Right, which is a left-leaning podcast, the place where I had the most interactions with my classmates and faculty was on this one, and you'll see here I actually got 7 comments. Ben Noel, Bob Boynton, Chris Clark, a couple from me, Ben Dar, and from me again. This particular exchange had to do with me trying to decide how many specific podcasts I needed to listen to and analyze to have a roughly a good sample. And this mattered because this was a class where it was me as one rhetorical critic using critical qualitative methods, and a number of political scientists who are all used to the quantitative. So Ben Noel, as you can see, tells me about statistical theory. Bob says it looks like you have 10 is just fine, etc. So that's the place where I got the most comments and the most interaction from people. I also want to show you a place where I got a running interaction in the comment section between the instructor Bob Boynton and myself, and that's in the numbers. The numbers will also show you something that I did in terms of trying to build in tables. So you can see I put in some hot mail tables to show different versions of the numbers of podcasting downloads that have happened. And you'll take a look here at the supporting post 3, and you'll see that Bob and I have some give and take going back here in terms of how I should support the numbers, where am I going to find them. That's a lot of podcasts, he says. I say actually not much less, back and forth, back and forth. So it gave me a chance to post some things, him post to me, and me to show them. The next thing I want to show you is one of the reasons we chose this is because you could add hyperlinks, so I wanted to show you a place where I actually did link to information on the public sphere, and nothing all that exciting. It's really just a link to Wikipedia, but as you can see, I have links to a discussion of the marketplace of ideas, as well as the public sphere, so that if people want to, they can go get a bit more stuff. And of course, our favorite gentleman, Habermas, and oh, look at that, Counterpublic's Rhetorical Public Sphere. Oh my gosh, isn't Wikipedia great? Okay, so going back here then. I also wanted to show you the ability that we had to put in pictures, and mostly because this is also just a great picture. The right-leaning podcast I looked at was called American Jihad, and this is their symbol, the Statue of Liberty. Fitting that I'm here in New York, but instead of her torch, she's holding, is that an AK-47? I'm not sure. And finally, the last place I want to go is to show you, back to the Blast the Right, to show you where I embedded sound files. And so the link here to Journalistic Form, as well as a couple more links down farther to two different kinds of framing techniques, as well as some smaller specific quoted clips, are all sound files. Now, a person using this interface would actually have to download them to listen to them. I'm going to play one for you in just a minute. If you're interested in hearing all of them, you can go to this website, which is gcast.com. That's one word, gcast. And if you look for my particular gcast account, that's user/imorca/podcast/main. You can, if you want to, listen to all the different podcasts I have recorded, including gender roles review and my description of the digital rhetorics class that I did as a test case. That is the functionality of the website, and I'll now give you a chance to listen to a little bit of the recording I did in terms of learning how to edit sound files and to create a podcast integrating my analysis audio with the audio of the original.
The clip you're going to hear is from one of my case studies. The podcast is called Blast the Right. It is a left-leaning podcast, and you're going to hear about 2 minutes of it. That's enough time to hear a little bit of my commentary and a little bit of the quoted audio material from the podcast itself. One of the things that we were doing in the course was learning how to use the technology by way of seeking to find new ways that scholarship will have to deal with materials. So if you recall way back to one of our very first days in this term, when we talked about that we need to say as we're doing or do as we're saying, that is to theorize new media through new media. That was one of the goals of this course, and so this is one attempt to do that.